I'm going to get me this girl figure. And then you're going to come home and you're going to give it to your kid. And he's going to be super anxious. He's going to go, Now, again, he's a nice boy. You've raised him right. So he's not going to say anything he shouldn't. But he's just going to ask, thank you. But before I go to my room, could I just sort of ask a couple questions, Mom and Dad? Did they have any superhero dudes? Oh, yeah. Okay. Did they have any robots? Oh, yeah, lots of robots. Should have seen it. Monsters, of course. Creatures, yes. Military, yes. Okay, they had all of that. And what about dinosaurs, aliens? Oh, shit, you should have seen the pigs. And you got me the female figure, right? You got me the female figure. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but somewhere along the line, serial killers begin at a certain spot.
How's it going, y'all? Rowdy Riles back with another video. Today, we are talking about a failed toy line. My favorite failed toy line. Not favorite in a good way, but if you watch my channel, you know that I have had a lot to say about Mcfarlane toys over the years. And this is coming from someone who started collecting them when the DC Mcfarlane Multiverse line had just started. So I had the first wave. I had Superman, Batman from their number 1000s. I had the Bruce Timm Harley Quinn, and the next wave they had Batman Who Laughs and Nightwing, and I got all those and I kept getting them. And then as time went on, I was collecting Marvel Legends, I was collecting DC Multiverse, and then Marvel Legends started to improve. They started doing pinless tech, they started updating older figures, and Mcfarlane kept having the same issues. Scaling problems, very shoddily put together figures, the diapers, at the crotch where they plug the legs in just to cover up laziness, because he didn't want to sculpt that stuff. So he's just just put a rubber. Sorry, I hit the mic. Just put a rubber overlay over it. It'll be fine. No, everyone will buy it because it's my stuff. And that's the first problem. And one of the main reasons why Todd lost the DC license, because that's what this video is about, is why DC Mcfarlane Multiverse failed and why Todd Midfarlane, as I like to call him, lost the license. And the first one is lack of improvement. And when I say lack of improvement, I don't mean that there weren't like little changes here or there, like the wired capes. Obviously, that's better than a plastic hard shell candy cape, whatever. But that's few and far between when it comes to the problems that this line had. I remember giving them another chance. I got the Mcfarlane Dick Grayson Batman with the wired cape. And when I pulled him out of the box, his arm came right off. And that's a problem that had been consistent across the entire line. Those butterfly joints are not really connected in there. They just kind of sit in the shoulder and they don't really add any articulation. It's just kind of there to break up the cut of the shoulder itself. So it moves and all that stuff, but it's just sitting there. And then when the arm pops out, the butterfly joint pops out, and then it's never the same again. That happened to my Green Lantern. That happened to my Dick Grayson Batman. And then you get into the stands and how they often didn't fit the feet. And even when they were on a stand, these figures would just topple over. So the first and the main reason why Todd Mcfarlane definitely lost the DC Multiverse license, and this is not debatable, is because he was not improving. He's charging more. He's changing a little bit of things, but not improving. Like he's adding face plates and all that stuff when you still have bad, terrible face application paint. Like the faces all look terrible. Sorry for swearing, but they all look terrible. So the swappable faceplates don't matter when your figure looks like dog turds. And that's not to say the sculpt isn't there, because I've seen people repaint Mcfarlane face sculpts and they look so much better. They look like the actor, but that's because someone who is actually talented at painting a figure and not just, yeah, it looks good enough to me, put it on the store shelves, people will buy my. That's Todd's attitude. Because when it comes to making a toy line, and this is the second problem, Todd only makes what he wants. He doesn't give what the fans want. He doesn't give what the license holder wants. Todd wants to make what Todd wants to make. And I know for a fact, if he could have gotten away with it, Todd would have just given us fully sculpted, posed figures for the DC Multiverse. And we're like, this is great. This is some of my best work. But Warner Brothers was like, no, we're trying to compete here. We're trying to stay in competition with Marvel, with NECA, with all these other figures that actually have articulation. So no, Todd, you're not doing posed figures with our DC Multiverse stuff. And he got that itch out other places. He got it out with Fallout, Red One, Movie Maniacs, I have examples. So, the lack of improvements, the having your own toy line and then running it like it's just for you. So Batman after Batman after Batman after Batman. And people can say, oh, well, he sells the Batman so that he can make the other stuff. But he didn't start making the other stuff until he lost the license. We weren't getting the deep cuts. It took him, 4 years to make Wonder Woman? And that was even a digital NFT release with all this other attached to how you could get it. And now it's like $80, $90. And now he's releasing a classic Wonder Woman, which is like her first appearance, which looks fantastic. But she comes with hands and no accessories to hold with those hands. No lasso of truth, no shield, no sword. And it's another digital NFT one. So, Todd, and I know you saw the clip at the beginning with him talking about why he doesn't make female figures, and that's a buttload of it. He's a misogynistic, sexist person, and that's another reason he lost the DC Multiverse line, because there are female characters that we never got. We never got Zatanna. We never got Black Canary. We barely got Wonder Woman. And you can say, oh, all these different variants. Nobody wants a variant. They want the complete Justice League that can sit on their shelf. That was really all I wanted on the DC Multiverse, and I never got there. I never got that. I had everyone except for Wonder Woman. And by the time he had released Wonder Woman, it was far too late. All good graces were gone, and I was already out. I have a couple of Mcfarlane things left. I have his Kickstarter Spawn, which is also a piece of crap. No articulation. It's all sculpt. It's all paint. Can't really do anything with it. The Witcher figures, another thing. It's like they're articulated, but the paint is lacking as far as the face sculpts and all that stuff. So there's just not a lot of reasons to collect this stuff. And if you do collect it, this is not a hate video against you. You should want better. That's the only thing I want to say to you. If you're a DC Multiverse fan and you're watching this and you're about to rage, don't. Because I'm just going to ignore it. I'm going to downvote you, and I'm probably going to hide you from my channel based on what you say, because a lot of it is not at all valid or constructive. I'll go on Reddit and I'll say something about how this Doom Slayer is $60 for Doom the Dark Ages, and it's got the same exact articulation as the original Doom Slayers that he did, which is to say single joints at the elbows, pins, barely any articulation, and he called it ultra articulated. My dude, it is not ultra articulated. It is ultra pricey at $60. And then when you charge more for a figure like that, when you're charging $60 for a $20, $25 figure, you're going to draw comparisons to the stuff that is actually worth that price, say a Moth X, which before import fees would be like $60 to $80. And there's a Moth X Dark Ages Doomslayer coming out. So why would you want the Mcfarlane one when you could get a much better one for $20 more? Some people will just have a hill and they want to die on it. And that's okay. That's okay. That's your prerogative as a collector. But for me, I saw all these warning signs, and I knew when their license was up after 4 years, DC was going to be like, yoink, sorry, Todd, you suck. And I bask in that. I'm like, I was predicting the future. It's like, yes, I was right. I was right. Rowdy Riles was right about how Mcfarlane toys are. And we can debate that all day if you don't agree with me, but the fact is he would not have lost the license if he was doing what he needed to do as the person running the show, which is listen to the license holder. As much as that sucks to have to bend down to a giant corporation, Warner Brothers, they're in charge. They're the one who we're renting this out to you for 4 years to see how you did. And you hit the bed, you rolled around in the bed, and you didn't clean the sheets, Todd. That's where we're at. So they saw that giant mess and they were like, you know what? We're just going to walk away. Unfortunately, our Superman movie is still tied to your... The rest of the DC universe will probably be okay as far as the movies, because let me tell you, those Mcfarlane Superman movie figures are terrible. They suck. Superman is about this broad, except this is all torso. The face paint on it is terrible. Does not look like the actor. The sculpt is there, but the face paint does not. Nicholas Hoult does not look like Nicholas Hoult, that Lex Luthor. We got Black Noir at home with the Ultraman figure just in purple. They didn't make Hawkgirl because if you make a female figure and a boy gets it, they're going to start killing people. Todd, of course. Why would you make Hawkgirl? Why? You would never do that. So it's not frustrating to me because I don't give it. I'm glad that he lost the license. I applaud the fact that he lost the license. I think that DC made the smartest move they could in parting ways as soon as they could and handing it back to Mattel, because Mattel has been making improvements. They've improved the articulation. They have pinless tech. They have face printing, all the stuff that other companies are doing, like Marvel, like Hasbro, like all these other domestic, Jada, all these other companies are doing the pinless thing. They're updating with their paint tech and all that stuff. And Mcfarlane is just back here treading water. Why don't you guys like me? Why don't you like my toys? And I'm not saying there's not people that buy them like rabid dogs, because there are. And I'm not saying that if you like his newer stuff, like the Cyborg Superman, all this stuff that's coming out now should have been coming out before, so he didn't lose the license. But now that it's gone, he's just like, oh, all these plans I had for 5-10 years down the line when people were just stuck with me, I have to do now. So that's why you're getting all these really good figures, quote unquote, in other people's opinions. I still think they're all shit. Do I see some value in the improvements and stuff and the way that the people are enjoying them? Like, there's some good, genuinely decent looking figures. Power Girl isn't one of them. But that Cyborg Superman is great. And then that you have that Ultimate Superman that just came out that apparently is amazing, but he's almost 8 inches tall. So it goes back to the scaling thing. And if you're getting into 8 inches tall, you may as well just go with the Fonjoy stuff for the Superman movie. So there's a lot of problems that he could have avoided. You know, he's making excuses for why that Live with Murray Franklin set was $250. People want this, so I have to charge a bunch because people want it. And guess what's still sitting on Mcfarlane Toys for order, not sold out? Alive with Murray Franklin Joker 2-pack. And I'm not saying it's not sold out because people don't want it, but it's not sold out because it's $250 and people don't want that half cardboard backdrop and a Robert De Niro figure and then the Joker figure that you actually want for $250. So it's good for me. I'm glad that he lost the license. I want a good 6.5 inch scale, hopefully, line from Mattel that will blend with your Marvel Legends, that have the same kind of articulations, the same kind of improvements, the pinless stuff, the photoreal painting, all that kind of stuff, because Mattel can do that. I don't think Mcfarlane is capable just because he doesn't want to. And we're going to continue to get that crap if people continue to buy that crap. So I sold all my shit. I jumped off that wagon late last year, almost closer to the middle of last year. Whenever that Dick Grayson Batman, I was completely done. I was like, you know what? The only Mcfarlane figure I still have on my shelf is Terry McGinnis Batman Beyond. Because A, that's actually a good figure. Props where it's due. That's a good figure. It was early on in the line. The pins and all that stuff aren't really a problem for me at that point. And then Terry McGinnis is obviously a better Batman than Bruce Wayne. Dick Grayson is even a better Batman than Bruce Wayne, but that's not what this video is about. This is about Todd and how he loves Bruce Wayne's Batman and how it was a motivating factor for him losing the line, along with his lack of improvements, his lack of female characters, his lack of listening to the license holder, his lack of meeting expectations with the license holder. And another thing is the figures, okay, here's these platinum chases, like red platinum, mega platinum, gold, silver label, whatever the chases are done and dead. What you should do is make one version of the character, the classic version, get everyone that wants it out, and then in another wave, put in some new characters, and then mix in the repaints, mix in the other costumes, instead of making it a whole thing, NFT, blah, blah, blah. And then you're charging extra because you think it's premium. None of Todd McFarlane stuff is premium, just like none of Hasbro stuff is premium. You can charge a high price point for it, but none of that is going to reach the quality of, say, a Mafex Marvel or GC figure. It's just not going to. And to pretend like it is just because you added wired capes and a couple of faceplates. And the same thing goes for the Maximum Spider-Man. It should have been $35, but because it was completely brand new and Hasbro's essentially breaking even, if even that, selling them at $50, that's why it launched at this point. But that Doomslayer for $60, Todd, you can shove that up your because you can shove that up and rip and tear it out, because that is a travesty. There's nothing new on there other than the paint and the accessories, the articulation, the sculpting work. All that stuff is stuff we've seen before. I'm not saying that's not a newly sculpted figure, but you're attaching it with 4 to 5 year old articulation. And to that I say, rest in piss, DC Mcfarlane Multiverse. Like I said, if you're a fan of the line, that's fine. This isn't about you. This is about Todd and how badly he runs a toy company. And there's a lot of companies like this. Super 7 is another example. And I will probably make a video on Super 7 when they inevitably go under in a couple months, because they are on a downward trajectory and it's just going down, 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 down. And I don't want to stir the pot. I don't want to stir drama, but it's not like anyone from Mcfarlane will ever see or respond to this. They don't give if they gave that input, they wouldn't have lost the license. So if you like this video, go ahead and smash like, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. If you're new here, of course, don't hit it if you're already subscribed, because then you'll be unsubscribed. We just hit 3,500, so we gave away the Retro Card Venom giveaway. Our next benchmark is 4K, where we're giving away a Moth-X Spider-Man, so make sure you're entered to do that. Comment, let me know your opinion. Don't be a jerk. I'm trying not to be a jerk here. All this talking is directed at Todd, not collectors, other than wishing that you guys would want better for yourselves. Because even when it comes to being a Marvel Legends collector, obviously, see all this behind me, I want better from Hasbro. They're still releasing pin figures, outdated sculpts with no butterfly joints and all that stuff. They need to do better. It's 2025. You expect us to give us your hard-earned money, especially in this economy. Now, you have to do better. So I'm expecting Mattel to blow this out of the water, because if they don't, I'm just going to wait. I will wait. I have my Moth-X Batman coming. I'm going to be happy with that. Hopefully I get a Moth-X Superman, and then maybe they'll release the Moth-X Wonder Woman, and very, very far apart so I can get them no problem. And maybe that's where I'll leave it. I'm not that big of a DC fan. I love DC Comics. I love when they do a good job, but DC has been a floundering company as far as consumer and fans for a long time. Like, the Snyderverse was a failure. DC Mcfarlane Multiverse was a failure. Their comic books, a lot of the events that they've been doing and lines and stuff, they just not been hitting. I would say the last good era for DC, in my opinion, this is my opinion, was the New 52, which is about, over 10 years ago at this point. And they've just been trying to play catch up from them. That Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo Batman run from the New 52, absolute perfection. So I'm not a Batman hater. I'm not a DC hater. I just think that Todd McFarlane and his toys suck. So yeah, smash like, subscribe, hit the giveaways, become a channel member, keep your head up, stay brave, be kind to your local LGBTQ community, stay safe, especially if you're in LA, especially if you're protesting, stay safe. But keep fighting the good fight. I will see you next time, and bye-bye.
Just wait 1 minute. I'm watching this new Rowdy Rouse video, and it's really awesome. I don't want to fucking miss it.
It's like this chick that reviews action figures, and it's really freaking cool.
Yes, I think they saw some videos, and there's some really good contents out there, you know?
She reviews the ponies and stuff because you knows I love ponies.
She doesn't review ponies. It's freaking fucking cool stuff, Toki.